So what's going on, horror fans and movie lovers? Welcome back to the JeffMan316 Pop Culture Reporter channel. I'm your host, as always, JeffMan316, and I'm here for what's going to be a special review video. Yeah, that's right. While we impatiently wait for another official Friday the 13th reboot film or that prequel series that we know is coming out, I wanted to let you know that there are plenty of other options for you to get your Jason Voorhees fix in the meantime. In this video, we're going to talk about two Friday the 13th fan films that you need to watch ASAP. We have The Fall of Camp Blood and Vengeance 2 Bloodlines. These are must-see films if you ask me, and especially if you're a true Friday the 13th fan. You want to know why? Well, let's get into my reviews of both films and you'll find out my thoughts. So yeah, 2 reviews for the price of 1. What are we waiting for? Let's go. So if you're a fan of my channel, you know that I love horror movies here. You also know that I love 2 franchises, especially Halloween and Friday the 13th. I covered the entire Halloween franchise in a series of Hallowscreen movie reviews. And I also have covered Friday the 13th in like VHS rankings, kill rankings, and unboxing videos. I definitely have been impatient, like you, while waiting for more official Friday the 13th content to get created. This has led me to watch most all of the Friday the 13th fan films that I could find on YouTube over the past few years. So having this YouTube channel has also allowed me to meet some of the great filmmakers behind those projects, like Jason Pitts, who created the awesome Voorhees Night of the Beast and Voorhees After the Beast. I covered both of those films on the channel, so check those reviews out if you haven't already. It also presented me the opportunity to meet one of the most passionate Friday the 13th fans that I've ever known. His name's Peter Anthony. You've seen him featured on the channel multiple times in interviews and rankings, other videos, lots of content also related to his Friday the 13th fan film, Roseblood. He got a Jeffy Award for that film. Well, Peter was deeply involved in the production of both of these fan films that I mentioned in the opening. These are 2 of my favorite fan films and are both available right now to watch on YouTube. I'm going to put the links down below in the description. So first, let's discuss The Fall of Camp Blood, which was directed by Riley Lorden. Peter Anthony not only helped produce this movie, he really is probably what you would consider the main star of the film. He's named James Dyer. Do you recognize that name? Well, Fall of Camp Blood picks up following the events of Friday the 13th, the final chapter. That's actually one of my favorite entries in the franchise. Maybe, let's see, I think I like Jason Lives, and then maybe Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Well, the plot of this movie goes like this. A group of teens venture to the lake to empty their parents' cabin before it's destroyed, while the vengeful sibling of 2 of Jason's previous victims arrives to prove that the mass maniac still lives, and to also maybe end that mass maniac's rampage once and for all. There are some other great actors who will fill out the cast, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention one in particular, and it was the terrific job done by Brent Edgett, who played everyone's favorite hockey mask wearing serial killer, Jason Voorhees. His version of Jason looks and moves like an exact extension of the version played by Ted White himself in the final chapter. This portrayal of Jason is what makes this fan film feel like an official continuation of the story from the final chapter. This film runs a tight 53 minutes. It's fast-paced. It's amazing throughout, even though it has a short runtime. The movie includes a lot of classic scenes and settings that make up the best entries of the Friday franchise. Like, you get an amazing opening scene which features actual visual and audio references to the final chapter film itself. There's even some great exposition after that from characters who are talking about the events from the previous films and how they tie into this one. You get what feels like an amazing callback to that running shot of Jason from the 2009 reboot. That's one of my favorite sequences in that film. You get classics like the campfire scene where the teens have a lot of exposition, and they even explain what's going on with Tommy Jarvis at this point in time. You then get some great stalking scenes of Jason himself, but he's also being hunted by the character of James at the same time. Jason gets some really good kills in this film, and they feel like they're really an extension of the scenes that we saw in the final chapter. So the character of James, let's talk about him. He ultimately comes face to face with the maniac who murdered his brother and sister. You'll see from these photos here, it's characters from the previous film. Well, Peter Anthony goes toe-to-toe once again with Jason Voorhees in this film. Finally, you get a great showdown scene which pits Jason Voorhees versus the Mad Cuban himself in a battle to the death. No scenes are wasted here. It's great pacing and storytelling throughout the film. I did want to point out one of my favorite scenes in the movie, and this is non-spoiler, so I'm going to give this no context at all. I know Peter had to write this scene himself, maybe. Taking the Friday the 13th screen-used mask for his own collection.
What are you doing?
It's everything this fucker put me through. Ugh. I'll be damned if I can take a trophy home.
Sounds just like Peter Anthony, right? Hey man, I'm just kidding. I love you. I'll say there is only one minor complaint that I have with this film, and it's the ending. I do not want to spoil it, but the ending to me does not exactly fall in place with what happens in the next official Jason Voorhees film, which would be Jason Lives. I prefer my fan films to kind of maintain the continuity with the official franchise entries, but that's just a personal preference. The ending here is still epic, and I love the effects that were used doing it. So nothing wrong with it, just my personal preference. Now let's move on to the next film I mentioned, Vengeance 2 Bloodlines. This film is a sequel to the existing Friday the 13th fan film called Vengeance. Both of these films continue the story from Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives, which happens to be my favorite film in the franchise. If Fall of Camp Blood is a direct extension of the final chapter, Vengeance 2 Bloodlines is like Jason Lives on steroids. You take everything that was great about that film and you multiply it by 100. That's why it won Fan Film of the Year during the 2022 Jeffy Awards.
I just got the news that I have the honor of winning the 2002 Jeffy Award for the best fan film. So I want to thank you, Jeff, first and foremost for watching and supporting Vengeance 2 Bloodlines, and all the fans, of course, for getting it out there, promoting it so that people like Jeff can see it and watch it. Without you guys, we wouldn't have the fan films, you know.
This film is much longer than Fall of Camp Blood. It is not as fast-paced, and it has a very rich and detailed story to tell. The film runs about an hour and 48 minutes, and it contains some very adult content. The kills in this thing are bloody and gory, just like all of us gorehounds come to love. So Jason Brooks directs here, and he also stars as Jason Voorhees himself. He did in the other Vengeance film. Jason Brooks has become one of my favorite actors to put on the beloved hockey mask. He continues a lot of the mannerism that you saw in C.J. Graham, but he also adds the style and attitude of Kane Hodder, and that's a perfect mix. The film also stars C.J. Graham himself as Elias Voorhees, Kelly Tappan's Sanaya Lutzis, who starred in Roseblood, and I've interviewed her on the channel. Check that stuff out. Tom McLaughlin, who, yeah, he's the director of Jason Lives. They got him for this movie.
Oh, shit. Shit. Why'd they have to dig up Jason? Some folks have a strange idea of entertainment.
Richie Ramone, Tamara Glenn, Darcy DeMoss, who returns as Nikki from the Jason Lives film. Tom Matthews himself returns as Tommy Jarvis. Can you believe it? And I'm not going to spoil how or why he appears in the film, but it's awesome. You got to see it. So let's talk a little bit about the film itself. The film tells the story of Elias Voorhees and his plans for his undead son Jason that involves bringing an end to the Jarvis family once and for all. And this, I would call it, I'd say this really is the perfect ending to the feud between the Jarvis and Voorhees bloodlines that started in the final chapter. So I'm going to tell you that the ending of this film is epic, as I've said, and it's worth the price of admission, so to speak, as they say. C.J. Graham puts on the mask to portray Jason Voorhees one more time in this film. I'm not going to spoil where it happens, but you're going to know it when you see it. Let's just say also, you can tell that everyone, I mean everyone, involved in this production was all in. They gave 150%. Everything is pumped up to the extreme for a Friday the 13th film. The story is jam-packed with callbacks to the original movies. The effects will rival top-tier Hollywood horror movies. And the acting is top-notch across the board. This movie deserves to be called a true fan film because it was created, produced, directed, acted by, and marketed by true Friday the 13th fans. They totally respected the source material and made a film which could be treated as canon by the rest of us fans. I salute everyone involved in the production of not only Bloodlines, but also The Fall of Camp Blood. Both of these films are awesome. I can do nothing else but give these two movies the best rating I can. They're both on fire. So, with that being said, have you seen either one of these fan films? And if not, what the hell's wrong with you? As soon as you give my review a thumbs up, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell, make some comments, you need to go to the description and click on the links of both of these movies and watch them. They're great entries in the Friday the 13th saga. Yeah, watch them ASF&P. So I want to end the video by personally thanking Peter Anthony for supporting me and my channel this whole time. I want to apologize to Peter and Jason Brooks for taking so long to tell the world about how great these movies are. You guys are the reasons that I do the things I do on YouTube. So thank you, Peter. Thank you, Jason. So I hope everyone enjoyed my video and comes back for more. And then I hope you go enjoy those two videos that I mentioned. Like I said, great Friday the 13th stuff here. So like I said, keep supporting my channel. And if you hear anything in the background, there's a bad storm. And I'm going to leave it in there because that's the perfect setting to talk about Friday the 13th. Isn't that right, Jason? Well, either way, like I said, after you do all that normal YouTube stuff, just keep coming back, supporting me, and I'll keep making great content. I love you guys. And like I said, keep supporting these fan films. And hopefully it won't be too much longer. We'll actually see some official Friday the 13th content. Well, either way, I really appreciate it. I love you guys. And until next time, boys and girls, this has been JeffMan316. I'm your pop culture reporter, and I'm signing out saying you guys be safe out there from Mr. Voorhees himself.
Here, take this.